Good evening, Titan Nation. How's it going? Welcome to another edition of Titans in Truth. I'm your man, Chris, the Blue Enforcer, and we have an absolutely fantastic show on tap for you this evening. It is going to be very cool, a whole lot of fun, and I got some special things in store for this episode tonight. So we're going to get right into it. Let's not waste any time. We're going to talk about this game that happened on Saturday where the Tennessee Titans defeated the Carolina Panthers 34-27 in very exciting fashion in this game. A lot of things went well for the Titans as far as offense, defense, and special teams. And it was just absolutely a fantastic day. Of course, in the background, you're going to see a little bit of the game and what's going on. This is, of course, the first team offense on the field. But this is just showing you just how crisp everything went for the Tennessee Titans as far as, offensively, defensively. This is just a great run here by Marcus. And I mean, the offense just looked efficient. It looked way better than it did against the New York Jets. I mean, a lot better. And that was just one great thing that we were able to see, how they were able to come out and be efficient. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, the Tennessee Titans didn't have to have to go up against Luke Kuechly, but you still had Charles Johnson, you still had Kawan Short, you still had a pretty nice defensive line, that you had to deal with. And that's definitely a lot. And, of course, you're just looking at the offense, the first-team offense, just rolling down the field, looking really well doing that. And this is just some things that I really enjoyed seeing out of this first-team offense. Now, the running game still has a little bit of work. But I think there's some things that's going to be ironed out. I think everything's going to be okay with that. I mean, you got to give credit. Carolina does have one of the best defensive fronts in the league. And just like last week against the Jets, another good defensive front. And so, you really got to tip your cap to them. They've been practicing all week, practicing together. As you can see, the first drive ends in a field goal for Suck up in the game, which was really good. And I mean, now you're going to get ready to take a look at the defensive side. But I mean, a lot of really nice things happen all the way for the Tennessee Titans. And the coverage, I mean, everything just looks much better. And as you can see, here's the turnover defensively. Logan Ryan having a way better showing, ending up in the hands of Kevin Byard right there. So one thing that Marcus Mariota said in the press conference today, they want to start fast. They want to get off to a good start this season, and they have to be able to score early and take control of the game. So that's something that they're going to have to do with that. But defensively, they only played 4 snaps, and a good 4 snaps at that. And I really like Kevin Byard. I think Byard, again, is going to be a Pro Bowler. You heard me say this before. You're going to hear me saying it again. Kevin Byard is a Pro Bowler. And so that was really good right there. And Logan Ryan redeemed himself, causing that turnover early on. So I think Logan Ryan's going to be okay. He's, getting used to the team and getting used to the scheme. And I think, he's a Super Bowl winning cornerback. So, give it time, it's going to be there. And everything. This was a 4th and 2 that they tried. Looked like he got in there, but it was a first down. But, I mean, everything just went perfectly well for first-team offense, first-team defense, the starters. really looked good. And I enjoyed watching this game. And if some of you haven't noticed, I have season tickets to the Titans. And, I have season tickets to the Titans. And I'm going to take you back. Well, here is the replay of that Delaney Walker touchdown. If I took it away from you, I apologize. But that was a great play there. And I actually saw that live. So I'm actually sitting like I'm facing this end. That's where I'm going to be sitting all year, section 143. So that's where I'm going to be sitting. And, defensively they caused 2 turnovers in the first 3 possessions. And so they made it very difficult for Carolina. If they keep this up, they're going to be really looking really good going forward. And so, that's just something that I took away from this game. And, here's, you got the interceptions going to be coming up in just a moment. Well, actually, this is Adoree Jackson's punt return. This is Adoree Jackson's punt return that got called back. Now, someone asked me, will we see a punt return by the end of the preseason? I'm going to say yes. We saw one here. Only thing about it was it got called back, unfortunately. But that was one heck of a return by Adoree Jackson. I think the one against Logan Ryan, they could have let go. But I didn't see where the other penalty was. I think it was a holding call, which, Logan Ryan looked like he didn't even touch him on that play. And then I don't know where the other play was. They really could have let that go. That should have been a touchdown on that. So, I thought that would have been 17-0. But, just all in all, it was a very, very good start for the defense and for everybody as a whole. It was just really, really good to see on that. And
pretty good numbers right here. 8 years with the Carolina Panthers, the first stint.
And actually, the interception should be coming up in just a bit. That was actually started by Jayon Brown, which I think is right here coming up. And then I'm going to actually stop it for a second. Yep, interception right there. And a lot of second-teamers were in there on this one. So that was excellent right there. Jayon Brown was right there to prevent Greg Olsen. Last year, that would have been caught by Greg Olsen. Last year, that would have been caught, without a doubt. And then Derrick Henry right here flips the corner and gets in. And that was the fast start the Titans were able to get on and get out to a 17-0 lead. So all in all, it was a great game. Of course, later, the Carolina Panthers kind of made it a bit interesting coming back. And, thank goodness it wasn't overtime out there. So Aaron Wallace got the strip sack, and they ended up with a David Fluellen game-winning touchdown on that. So the Titans ended up winning it 34-27. It was a great game. It was a hot game. I'm just glad I didn't get an extra tan because it was hot as all get out there. I didn't know what was hotter, the sun or hell's fire. So it was very hot out there indeed at Nissan Stadium. But what a heck of a game that was right there. And so what we're going to do now is that I have a very, very special exclusive coming up for you. Tennessee Titans online senior editor Jim Wyatt is going to join the show. Check it out right here on Titans. And I have a very special Titans and Truth exclusive for everybody tonight. And I have with me right now, joining the show, he is the senior writer and editor for Your Tennessee Titans, the one and only, the legend himself, Mr. Jim Wyatt. Jim, thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, glad to do it. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate it. It's an esteemed honor to be speaking with you and talking to Titans. And it is looking like it's been a good week for the Tennessee Titans since they did defeat the Carolina Panthers. And I want to basically get your thoughts first before we get into that. Were you able to get a tan during the sun baking that was happening at Nissan Stadium?
Yeah, well, fortunately, I was in the press box, but I believe me, I was looking down outside the window and noticed people were getting sunburned on a day like that. A lot of people sweating. It's worth it when the team's playing like it was on Saturday. Got off to a great start and showed tremendous improvement from the previous week against the Jets. Should be another hot one on Sunday against the Bears, with that noon kickoff. But I think these kind of games, you get the fans ready, but they also get the team ready to be playing in the middle of the day, because that's when the season opener rolls around here against the Raiders. That's what they're going to be playing in. So Raiders will be dressed in black that day on what should be another warm day. And by that time, I think the fans and the team should be ready to tackle the heat.
Absolutely. And that's actually a very good thing. I know a lot of people were wondering why, you will play a game, in the daytime in the preseason. But I do like that aspect because it does kind of prepare the team to prepare for this is what you're going to go through in the regular season. And I even had heard with Mike Mularkey in his press conference after the game, this is going to be a regular week, just like it is for the regular season. So I definitely do understand that. But I do want to mention the offense. And the first team offense looked very efficient, moving the ball with Marcus Mariota down the field, and definitely got some help from the defense. Again, what was one of your biggest takeaways from the game offensively, as the first team offense was able to move the ball so well against Carolina?
Yeah, I think the thing that stood out to me most was while they did so well, the first team offense, you looked out there and Corey Davis wasn't out there. He's missing time still with a hamstring injury. Eric Decker wasn't out there. He's sidelined with an ankle injury. And Rashard Matthews wasn't out there. He was excused for personal reasons. So those are your top three receivers when this team started training camp and went with the first group three wide. I mean, those are your guys. And the fact that they were able to still be successful, with Taywan Taylor stepping in, with Trey McBride stepping in, and with some other players stepping up. I mean, I think that's what stood out to me the most. I mean, they were still able to be successful moving the football without guys that Marcus Mariota is most comfortable with in there. So that's a positive sign, not only for Marcus, but it's a positive sign, I think, for the depth at the receiving core, that they've got some guys who can kind of keep it rolling.
Yes, it does. And, I'm definitely looking forward to Corey Davis actually getting on the field. Now, right quick, I wanted to ask, now, word had it that it looked like he might be on track to come back on the fourth preseason game. I know Coach Mularkey might have dialed it down just a little bit on that. In your honest opinion, does Corey Davis seem to look like he is close to returning, maybe for that fourth preseason game, or do you think they may hold him out for week one against the Raiders?
Well, I will say this. I mean, Mike Mularkey a lot more cautious, with his words the day later on Monday following that Sunday press conference when he was asked about Corey Davis, and he said he was on track to play in the preseason game. And I think when maybe the news reports, if you'll excuse me, I got ambulances rolling by me here right now as we're speaking, so hopefully it won't mess up the broadcast too much. But ambulance and a fire engine and a police car back to back to back. But I will say that Mike Mularkey is a lot more cautious in his words about Corey Davis, and I think that's partly because they don't want to put a lot of pressure on him. To feel like the team is pressuring him to come back too soon. It's hard for me to say to be honest with you, whether he looks like he's going to be ready, because after he suffered that injury, he's been pretty much shut down. He's been standing on the field and watching practices with Tajay Sharp. Now, Tajay Sharp was cleared earlier in the week. Corey Davis, we haven't even seen him doing any kind of light running on the side. A lot of times, as we saw DeMarco Murray this past week, a guy will go through a practice and then they'll hold him out another week because they don't want to rush him back too soon. We haven't even seen Corey Davis go through a practice week. So he's still got a ways to go, and Mike Mularkey definitely making it clear that the most important thing is to get him ready for the regular season. It doesn't make any sense to rush him out there too soon if he's not completely ready, for a preseason game where really he's not going to be surrounded by a lot of other starters anyway. So, with about a week to go, I would say I'd say it's 50-50 at best.
Understood on that. Now, right quick, one thing I wanted to also touch on with the offense. Jonnu Smith seemed to look pretty decent with Marcus in the offense, and definitely caught a few passes, caught 5 catches for 40, I believe it's 47 yards. Looked pretty good with that, and has to get better in the run game as far as blocking. Now, what did you think of Jonnu Smith? And with Derrick Henry having only 16 carries, 36 yards, even though he scored 2 touchdowns, was there any concern about the running game as well? Because it was a little bit ineffective against Carolina.
Well, I think Jonnu Smith, the more I see him, the more I'm impressed with him and his ability to catch the ball, make some guys miss, and show off his athleticism a little bit. I think he's going to be a good player for this team, and I think he's going to help as early as this year. It is a position where they got a Pro Bowler there in Delaney Walker, so you definitely feel good about Delaney. And I think Delaney has really looked good, but Jonnu Smith is going to be a factor for years to come. He's still working through some things to get to where he needs to be, but I like what I've seen from him. And as far as Henry, I think this Panthers, that's a good defense that they were facing, a good run defense, and I think in the preseason, teams are geared when they're facing the Titans, kind of geared to stop the run, and I think based on what I've seen from Henry and the run game in practices, I think they're going to be okay there.
All right. Well, I definitely do like that, and so quickly first, let's definitely turn now to the defensive side of the ball, and I forgot to ask one other question. Did David Fluellen basically cement himself onto this team? And because we saw him get quite a bit of work with the first team, and he definitely looked pretty good. And what does this say for Khalfani Muhammad? It looks like he might be playing his way off the team, maybe to the practice squad.
Yeah, I will say this. At the beginning of training camp, and when I do position previews for each position leading up, one of my guys to watch was Fluellen, and in my mind, he was the guy to beat for that number 3 spot behind Murray and Henry. And based on what I've seen in practices and certainly in preseason games, no one has unseated him from that spot. He's been good running the football consistently in practice. He showed it off in the game Saturday. He's been good, catching the ball out of the backfield. He's been good on special teams. I know Mularkey's mentioned that maybe he could still improve some in pass protection, but he's a more all-around player at this point than anybody else behind those first 2. So he looks like he's in good shape to me. Now, we've still got some time to go, and they drafted Khalfani Muhammad for a reason because he brings something a little bit different. And, if they think if he does something on special teams or comes on late, maybe he makes it more of a race. But as far as just straight up competition goes, I think Fluellen has held his own.
All right, that's really good right there, and I definitely am definitely looking forward to see how that turns out with David Fluellen. Now I want to turn my attention over to the defensive side of the ball, and I want to take a look at something about a particular player that I am definitely intrigued by, and that is Adoree Jackson. Even though I really loved what he did on punt returns, I wanted to get your thoughts. How did he look as far as his coverage on defense? Because I know that the first team defense started off really good, only played like 4 snaps and everything. It was really looking crisp in doing that. But how did Adoree Jackson look to you as far as defensively, aside from the punt return?
Well, he's looking better each week, and a lot of what I'm basing that on is what I saw in practices against the Panthers, and not necessarily the game, because that's where he really got a heck of a lot of work, and they were going in 1-on-1s and 7-on-7s, and certainly he got some opportunity in team drills as well. And he had an interception in practice last week. He broke up a couple of balls. He continues to impress me with his ability to kind of find the ball in flight, and despite being a smaller guy, doesn't have the height and sort of the long arms that some other corners do, he still is able to make plays on footballs, and I think his instincts will continue to improve. He's definitely got the speed to hang with guys downfield, so he's looked good. With that said, I mean, you look at the secondary, and it's tough to find him a spot, and there's nothing against him, and there's still time for anything to happen. But but you look at who's out there. Logan Ryan's going to play. The cornerback from the Patriots, who sort of has a lot of experience in a couple of Super Bowl rings, and LaShawn Sims has been really good, throughout the off season and throughout preseason. He's a guy who's holding his own. So Bryce McCain in the nickel in the slot, I think, has played well. So it's going to be an interesting decision on how things play out and how Adoree Jackson can fit in the defense right out of the gate. But there's no question he offers a tremendous playmaking ability on special teams as a returner. I mean, we saw it in practice. We've seen it in practices. I know it was on display in that practice at Centennial High School where he got the crowd excited about what he was doing there when they're not even tackling. And then this past weekend, he catches that ball and goes. Yes, there were a couple of penalties on the play, but he kind of showed what he could do just in that play alone. And he's an explosive player who's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because when I actually saw that particular play, before that, I was actually sitting in section 143. I was talking to a fan that was sitting right in front of me, and we were discussing it. We saw Adoree Jackson back to return. We both said, watch, he returns this for a touchdown. And that was exactly what happened. Of course, aside from the penalties, that is definitely something to look forward to. And something that I also noticed with him was that he definitely shows off some of his track ability that brought him here from USC. I mean, definitely is fast. Maybe not as fast as Chris Johnson, but he's definitely one very fast guy. And even though he's only 5'11", may seem undersized, I think he could get up a little bit. I want to say he did do some high jump in college, if I'm not mistaken, with that. So, he could definitely get up, and I was definitely impressed.
He reminds me a lot of Pac-Man Jones. I mean, just the way he explodes when he catches the ball, and he just seems to have a good knack of where to go in the return game. And there was a point there where he'd kind of broken through the first wave of would-be tacklers, and then the punter was waiting for him, and you still got to make that guy miss, and he just kind of went to his right and just blew by him without any question about it. So he has a different gear, and he's definitely got the speed to change that part of the game and to make it one worth watching instead of heading to the concession stands or taking a quick break there.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Now, another defensive player I definitely want to touch on, and who I think just continues to improve every week, is Jayon Brown. And he's been making plays all over the place. He, of course, had that tip ball that led to a Justice Staples interception on the second drive. Now, we know that Woodyard and Williamson is probably going to end up starting week 1, I would believe. Could Jayon Brown, in your opinion, is it possible that maybe by the end of the year, Jayon Brown is taking a spot from one of them because he's been so impressive?
Well, I think he's going to play. I mean, he is going to be on the field in nickel. He's going to be on the field in packages where he's going to have an opportunity to make plays. I mean, the thing those other guys have on him is experience, and they've been through these battles before. And, certainly he'll have that toward the end of the year where he's pushing to play more. But it's a good situation to have where you've got some veterans. You've got a young guy in Brown who is fast and is kind of a game changer and has really impressed me with his ability to just wrap up and tackle in the open field. I mean, he's been good so far. I do think the more plays he makes, the tougher it's going to be to keep him off the field.
Absolutely. And speaking of UCLA Bruins, I mean, him and definitely his Bruin tag team partner, Aaron Wallace, has been making plays as well. I could see maybe a UCLA tag team of sorts on the field at the same time as well. I've definitely liked what I've seen from Aaron Wallace. He may have a shot at overtaking Kevin Dodd, and that was something I wanted to mention. Kevin Dodd has seemed like he just hasn't – he's disappeared in my honest opinion as far as making a real impact in the game. And maybe it's possible that he's playing out of position. What do you think was going on with Kevin Dodd actually?
Well, you're all right. And you notice Wallace more than Dodd at this point. I still think Dodd is working his way back, to not only he's probably getting himself where he's in pretty good game condition at this point because he's been there since the beginning of camp, but I think he's still finding his way as far as getting a feel, on the football field again. I didn't talk to him after the game against Carolina, but I did talk to him after the game in New York, and he was, while he was encouraged by what he was able to do, he's very quick to point out that he hadn't played a football game in a year, and he's still working through some things to get to where he wants to be. So now he's played. He still really hasn't played. Maybe you put him together and he's played a full football game, but he hasn't played a full game, on one particular day in a long time. And he's still getting his technique down. He's still getting his stamina down. He's still getting a feel on how to fight through things down. And I think he'll continue to improve. He's not there yet. There's no doubt about it. And I think he'll flash more as time goes and he plays more. But he's what I describe as a work in progress.
Absolutely. And so now I got one last question for you as well. And who is it that played their way onto the team? And who's also played their way off the team as well?
Well, I'll tackle the first one. I'll tackle the second one first. And I don't know that he's necessarily played himself off the team. I just don't know if at this point he's done enough to stick. And that's a guy you mentioned earlier, is Kalfani Muhammad. I mean, he a lot of times when you have a guy drafted, a lot of people start penciling in the draft picks as being on the 53, and that's obviously not always the case. And with Muhammad, he's happened to be in a position where David Llewellyn's played really well. Got a couple other backs and Murray and Henry who are going to be on the team. And Muhammad brings something different, but I don't know that at this point if he's done enough to show that he deserves a spot. Now, that can change quickly. I mean, as quickly as him taking a kickoff or taking a handoff and going 80, 90 yards with it. I mean, he does have some explosiveness that other guys don't. So I do think that he's in a spot where he's catching up here with not a lot of time left in the preseason. And then the other spot who's played themselves on, I think just watching OTAs and mini camp, I can't really say anybody in training camp or the preseason play themselves on, because I just have kind of watched it from the beginning. So I'm not too surprised when some guys have done well. What has intrigued me and what's going to be interesting to watch is how the receiver position breaks down and how it all plays itself out, because I think a lot of guys have done things to play themselves onto the roster, but you just can't keep them all. And you do the math of that position, you figure to keep a 5 or 6, you can get to 5 or 6 quickly. I mean, Corey Davis and Eric Decker, Rashard Matthews, Taywan Taylor, Tajay Sharp, that's 5 there.
Yep.
And then you've got 3 more who all, bring something different. I mean, Mike Mularkey was raving about Harry Douglas last week and how he was invaluable, how he helps guys around him.
Yep.
Certainly he's had his moments on the field. You got Trey McBride, who I think's had another really good camp. And, he would make it in some other years where they weren't so in such good position at the receiver position. And you can't forget about Eric Weems, who was brought in here in March really to be a special teams ace, to reduce some things in the return game, to help cover kicks and punts, to help you in a lot of different areas. They identified him because they liked him and how much he could bring as a special teamer. So, all those guys, you can make a case for, but that's 8 guys I just named, and you can't keep 8. You probably keep a 5, 6. I do think it was a year a long time ago, or maybe they kept 7 for a while, but it's whoever makes it on that back end is going to have to be able to help on special teams, and it's going to make for an interesting breakdown here on cut down day at the end of August.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be huge now with the new rule in place that it is not 90 to 75 to 53. Now it's just straight up 90 to 53. That's going to be nuts, with each team cutting like 37 players, which is going to be insane. And I wanted to get you out here on one other note. Looks like I don't watch a lot of baseball, but looks like your Dodgers are doing pretty good. Looks like they're just steamrolling into the playoffs a little bit. Looking like Kershaw and Mr. Bellinger are doing pretty good. So I hope they keep going with the way that they're going. I know you follow them a lot.
Yeah, I've been a Dodger fan since I was about 7 years old. Back in the days of Garvey and Say and Lopes and Russell in the infield, and back in Dusty Baker, was roaming the outfield. Steve Yeager behind the plate. I've been through them been with them for a lot of years. I remember losing to the Yankees in the World Series in '77 and '78 when Reggie Jackson leaned out and hit that ball in the World Series. It kind of changed that series a little bit. It should have been interference. They didn't call it, but I'm still getting over that. But they did beat the Yankees in '81. I remember they beat the A's to win it in '88. It's been a long time since I haven't been in the World Series since 1988, and I'm hoping this is the year that they break through. It's been a very fun year. I watch them every night on DirecTV, and I have since probably since DirecTV came out. But it's been a memorable year, but they've got to win it. I mean, you got to win in October. I know they got a lot of pressure on them because of how many games they've won. I think they've got a great roster. They just got to stay healthy and handle the pressure when these games really matter, because this season is not going to be as special to me if it doesn't end with the World Series championship.
Definitely. And, I'm definitely, I'm a little bit younger. So, I mean, I came in, in the last few Tommy Lasorda years, of course, with that. But one other thing, all right, I got to ask you this one. Who you got, MTSU or Vandy?
Well, I'm also thinking I've got the same teams I've had since I was about 6, 7 years old. Dodgers, one of them, and Vandy's another one. My dad went to Vandy Law School and started taking me to games out there when I was just a little boy, and I've been a diehard Vandy fan my whole life. So I'm definitely rolling with Vandy in that one. I know MTSU's got a dangerous team. They got a good quarterback and they got a good coach. So I'm hoping Vanderbilt can win that game. They have turned that series a little bit in the last couple of years. MTSU beat Vandy several times up until the past couple of years when the Vanderbilt's won. I'm hoping Vandy can keep it going, but it's not going to be easy. I mean, it's they have to go in there and play well, and you never know what can happen in week one of the season.
College football is very, very unpredictable, and I want to definitely say thank you, Jim, for coming on to the show, and I hope you enjoyed that eclipse with the rest of the team. I know that was
pretty spectacular. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a phenomenon. I definitely enjoyed it. Glad to see the team together and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, you can definitely see him on TitansOnline.com. Insider for the Titans senior writer, Mr. Jim Wyatt. Go ahead and ask him a question on the website, and you might get featured on there as one of his questions on Ask Jim Wyatt. Jim, thanks again for your time. Thank you for doing this, and I definitely do appreciate it.
Okay, I appreciate you having me.
All right, and that is the senior writer and editor for the Tennessee Titans, Mr. Jim Wyatt. And we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back right here on Titans and Truth. Hi, guys. This is Chris Newell from Titans and Truth. Ladies, are you looking for that specific jewelry that's unique and helps you stand out? Something you will never find in other jewelry stores? Fellas, you might be looking for that special jewelry for that special lady in your life. Or you might be looking for some bling for yourself. Well, check out Rose Jewel Boutique and my friend Allison Conley. Ladies, she can make jewelry in a way that you want it and to your particular taste. Check this picture out here. Fellas, you want a little bit of bling or something that you can find special too? She does male jewelry as well. Check out these bracelets that she's made. Now look, I don't say this about Rose Jewel Boutique because they are a sponsor of the show or that she is a friend of the show. I say this because I am a valued customer. Take a look at these pictures from our wedding. You really want to find out how to get this special jewelry? Check her out right here. Check her out on Facebook, Instagram, or go to rosejewelboutique.com. She can ship anywhere. And make sure you tell her that Chris from Titans and Truth sent you. Welcome back. Welcome back to Titans and Truth. It's been a great episode so far. I definitely want to give a big special thank you to Mr. Jim Wyatt for that terrific interview and definitely for coming on to the show, providing a lot of great insight on what's going on with the Tennessee Titans. Go check him out on Twitter at JY Sports on Twitter. That's where you need to go and take a look at some of his stuff that he puts out. He puts out stuff at practices, a lot of things that are going on, the ins and outs of the Tennessee Titans. But what we got coming up now, of course, it's time to name our two-tone blue star of the week. And I did put this out on Facebook to get some nominations in. And I got a few nominations in. And definitely going to try to pick a winner from that. And we had Mr. Sean O'Mahony from the Irish Titan fan club. Shout out to you and to the Irish fan club of Tennessee Titans. Definitely on there. He had Kalen Reed as his vote for two-tone blue star of the week, seeing that for the second straight week, he finished as the number one player according to Pro Football Focus for the Tennessee Titans. So that is actually very good. And, you know, one thing that Jim was talking about was, you know, he may be one of those guys that's played his way onto the team, along with some other guys that you really didn't know were going to make the team anyway. But Kalen Reed is definitely one of those guys who has played their way onto the team. I think he has no choice but to be on the team as at least the fifth corner, maybe even the fourth corner. So I definitely like that. And then also looks like my guy Brent Beard under Tennessee Titans Uncensored, gave his nomination, of course, to Tyler Ferguson for the quarterback kneel. I'm kidding, y'all. He was joking too. He said actually he given it to David Fluellen, saying that flu season. And it could definitely be that. It is flu season right now because David Fluellen has really played well. He's a guy that definitely has played himself onto this team. So I'm very impressed with Fluellen. I think he's definitely going to be the third running back. So he had a couple of nice runs when he came in and then busted off that 50-yard run in the game against Carolina. He did that. He's done that quite often all preseason long. And also, I got my guy, Brandon Bowers, and me and Brandon go way back, of course, work together at Logan's. What's up to you, Brandon? And everybody at Logan's on Hickory Hollow, out there at Hickory Hollow in Antioch. He gave his Star of the Week nomination to Derrick Henry. And that's not a bad selection there, but judging from the votes and judging on what I think, Two-Tone Blue Star of the Week has to be David Fluellen. He's played his way onto the team out of nowhere. He's looked really good. He has basically put the team on notice. And at the same time, like we were talking about earlier with Jim, he's basically kicked Kaflani Muhammad off the team. I thought Kaflani Muhammad had a chance to be the third back, maybe a change of pace back. Hasn't really worked out that way. I think Kaflani Muhammad ends up on the practice squad at worst. He's got a lot of work to do. So I think that's where he's going to end up. So I give it to Mr. Flu Season, David Fluellen, as the Two-Tone Blue Star of the Week. And you know, when there is a Star of the Week and somebody that does something nice, you got to have a dunce of the day. And we did have some nominations from that as well. I got a couple of nominations for dunce of the day. Alex Tanney, because Matt Castle basically has won the backup position. Another, Brent Beard said Trey McBride, because he dropped that touchdown catch that he would have had if he had dropped it. And I can understand the vote for that because, I mean, that would have been pretty big, would have helped his chances a bit. But, I mean, he had a pretty solid game other than that as well. And so, and then Brandon comes in saying the Star of the dunce of the week, dunce of the day, the second half offensive line as well. But I would say for the most part, the offensive line did all right in this game. And I just got to continue to keep getting better on run defense, on the running game. But I just think that they did very well, especially in the passing game. And so that was something that I was impressed with. So I'm going to give my dunce of the day, and I'm going to go a little bit differently on this one. Dunce of the day has to be a guy that, in all honesty, I have not noticed. He hasn't shown me anything at all. Absolutely nothing this entire preseason. And my dunce of the day goes to Kevin Dodd. Kevin Dodd has not shown anything. And right now, Aaron Wallace is out playing him. I think Eric Walden is going to be fine. And even Josh Carraway has done pretty well. I've noticed them. Kevin Dodd, I really haven't noticed at all. He hasn't really put a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks. And he just seems lost out there. He looked lost against the Carolina Panthers. He didn't know whether to rush the passer or try to cover the running back in the flat. And even when he tried to go cover a running back in the flat, he looked horrible doing it. And I honestly, truly believe he is playing out of position. And that was something that I hate. We didn't get to talk with Jim about was, do you think that Kevin Dodd, they playing out of position? Maybe he should bulk up some more, add some weight, and go down as a 3-4 defensive end. I think that will benefit him in the long run. He's a typical 4-3 defensive end. He is not a guy that needs to be a 3-4 outside linebacker having to at times cover either tight ends or running backs out of the backfield because he'll get completely destroyed on that. So Kevin Dodd gets my award for dunce of the day. And it's unfortunate that I have to give it to him because he got so much potential. But maybe he's just coming along a little bit slower. Maybe he's not trusting that foot yet. But he's gotta bring it. And right now he has not. So there goes my award there. All right. And now it's time for my favorite part of the show. I love it. You love it too. And it is time for Pick My Brain. Pick My Brain. And this is again where y'all get involved in the show. Y'all get to pick my brain. Y'all want to ask me some questions about the Titans. You could definitely ask me here on the Titans and Truth fan page, on any of the Titan pages. Just ask me, or you can ask me on my page, on my personal page, Chris A. Newell. You can also find me again on Instagram and Twitter as well under TNT Blue Enforcer. That's my Twitter handle. And I'll be showing that a little bit later before we wrap up the show. But had some good questions coming from, of course, Luck of the Irish, Mr. Sean O'Mahony, who I definitely am glad. He's a big friend of the show. He's been definitely paying attention. He said, do you think we'll see at least one punt return for a touchdown from Adoree Jackson by the end of the preseason? Now, actually, we did see a punt return for a touchdown by Adoree Jackson. The only problem was it was called back because of penalty, so it didn't count. But technically, we have seen a punt return for a touchdown. But as far as actually one that will count, I'm going to say yes. I think we'll get one. I think we'll definitely get one for a touchdown, definitely. So I would say yes to that one. And he also asks, has the performance by the Titans' first-team offense and defense in the first quarter versus the Panthers changed your prediction for the season? Well, my prediction is going to be the same as it's always been. I think the first-team offense, they're going to have to start off fast. I think they're going to be a much more dangerous offense. And they were looking good even without a lot of pieces in the game. No Rashard Matthews, no Corey Davis, no Eric Decker, no DeMarco Murray. None of those guys played, and the offense was clicking like it always has. So I would say this offense has the potential to be a top 10 offense. They finished 8th statistically in the league. And I think they could be higher than that. I think they have a chance to sneak into the top 5 of offenses. But you know they're going to rely mostly on running the ball. Defensively, I think they got a lot better. Now, that still remains to be seen. We got to see if this all is going to work out. It might take a little bit. The pass rush has got to be there. You know, big Jarrell Casey's going to have to be a big part of that. Also, Morgan and Arapaho have got to be coming off the edge, harassing quarterbacks, and we got to see how this secondary is going to do. But I think they have the potential to definitely at least be middle of the pack defense, at least top 15, maybe sneaking, flirting with the top 10 as well. But I still think I'm predicting a very good season offensively and defensively as well. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Sean. Brent Beard, one of my good friends, also asked, he said, do you think the addition of Darius Sims has any effect at all with keeping Weems on the final 53, considering he was a nice return man for Vandy? Now, Darius Sims just joined the team last week, although he is from my alma mater, the great Whitehaven High, that dynasty down there, the defending state champions of the state of Tennessee, Class 6A, by the way. Shout out to my fellow Whitehaven Tiger alums. And I want y'all back here for 2018 18 to get up here and win another one. So I'll be looking for that. But Darius Sims, I think, was added for depth. I think he's a camp body. I don't know if he's going to make the 53. I don't know if that'll keep Weems off the team. I think mainly because John Robinson signed him in the offseason as a free agent with one of the first free agent moves. So I'm really thinking that Weems is going to make the team because he can return kicks, he can cover kicks, he can cover punts. Now, he may not give you anything offensively, but other than that, he gives you a lot on special teams. Now, unless they decide to go with McBride, I don't know, but I think Eric Weems, I'm going to assume he's pretty safe as far as making the final 53, in my honest opinion. So I'm trying to see if there's any other questions out there. But other than that, I would definitely say this team is on the rise. You know, they had a much better performance in this game than they did against the New York Jets. But you can't really read too much into the preseason because you've seen teams go undefeated in the preseason and then just completely stink in the regular season. So only time will tell from that. So thank you for everybody who did reach out to me on Pick My Brain. And for anybody else that is not in Pick My Brain yet, get involved. Get involved. I want to hear from you. That's what the show is about. You know, I enjoy doing this, but I'm doing this for y'all. I'm doing this for Titan Nation. So definitely get involved. You know, support the show. You definitely want to enjoy yourself. And also, I want to give a shout out to the Titans fan club of Memphis from my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. Just letting y'all know, my guy, Mr. Larry Garman, who's one of my fraternity brothers of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, is going to be hosting a pregame party for week 1 against the Oakland Raiders, or should I say the future Las Vegas Raiders. That's going to be coming up Saturday, September 9th at 404 Bar and Grill. And as you can see right here on the flyer, it's going to be on 404 Elysian Fields over in Antioch. So Titan Nation, come out and support this party. You can meet some other Titan fans from the city of Memphis. They have a very big following. And so you definitely got to check them out. And my guy, Larry Garman. And so shout out to my hometown, the M-Town, definitely. Now, again, to wrap up the show tonight for my Blue Bombshell, I wanted to give a shout out first to Jarrell Casey for, you know, he was a part of the Dunkin' Donuts staff out in Brentwood. He went over there and worked with the staff there, was actually serving customers, getting them some coffee and some donuts and things like that, really being a part of the community. And that's what I love about Jarrell Casey. He's always been out there, just a really cool guy, really out there showing support. Of course, other players are definitely doing service to the community as well, and just being outgoing. And that's what you need from this team, to show that they really care. They care about the fans. They care about the people. Coach Malarkey has always talked about really being a staple in this city, and to have the fans come out and show support. And I think that's something that's really, really cool. And something else I wanted to mention before we finish up with my last topic. I really like something that they unveiled at the stadium. After every first down, what they would do is the Spartan chant. You know, the "Ahoo, ahoo, ahoo." I know some people think that that's silly. I love 300 to death. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait to hear that chant with 50,000 people in the stands. So let's make that something we can make our own. Let's put it together. Let's be loud with it. I enjoy it. I think it's great. But to wrap up the show tonight, in honor of the solar eclipse, which was, I think, absolutely incredible. And, you know, I thought I would not enjoy it as much. I thought it was like, what was the big deal? What's the big deal over this solar eclipse or anything like that? But my wife was very excited about it. Like, she was looking forward to it. She was like all in on it. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. But witnessing this once in a lifetime phenomenon, I thought was absolutely awesome. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Got a few pictures here of the eclipse, tried to anyway. But of course, some pictures outside of my office where it was getting dark, more like twilight. It wasn't completely dark, in my honest opinion, but it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Sun is going down, sun is went down, and the moon's about to come up. That's what it was looking like. It looked like it was, where it was getting dark and everything with that. But I just thought that was an absolutely fantastic experience. I enjoyed it once again. And my wife has already said we're going for 2024. It looks like Little Rock, Arkansas is one of the cities that's going to show totality. And my wife says she wants in. So looks like 2024, I'm taking a trip to Little Rock, Arkansas. And hopefully I get to go to Hot Springs and enjoy some water park and some great things out there in Hot Springs. But the question I put out in honor of the solar eclipse was, what are some of your favorite weather phenomenon type movies? Movies that are dealing with the weather. And I'm not talking like Armageddon. I put Deep Impact on there, but that's really not a weather-related movie. That's more like catastrophe, end of the world type stuff. But I got some votes. My guy Brandon Bowers said 2012 was his favorite. Brent Beard said rest in peace, Bill Paxton. Twister was one of his favorites. Sean O'Mahony said 2012. Egan O'Mahony, I hope I got your name right. I apologize if I didn't. He also said 2012 as well. And so I definitely like 2012. One of my favorite weather phenomenon movies has to be The Day After Tomorrow with Dennis Quaid. Enjoyed that movie. Fantastic. Again, you could check me out. You could definitely check me out. Check it out right there. You can see me on Facebook, Titans and Truth fan page. You can also check me out on Instagram at BlueEnforcer19_1914. You can also check me out on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe, share this show. Tell your friends about it. I know there's a lot of Titan fans out there that don't know about this. Get them involved. I want to get to 100 subscribers before next week's show. 100 subscribers. I'm about 12 away. So I want to get over 100. Let's do this, Titan Nation. We can do this. And I got so much more to come. Next week's show is going to be absolutely epic. You do not want to miss it. It is a prediction show edition where I'm going to give predictions on the season. I'm going game by game as far as what their final record I'm predicting it to be. And also, I'm going to try to predict the final roster. Who makes the team? Who gets cut? Who's going to be the surprise cuts? Who could end up on the practice squad? We're going to go over that as far as everything after the game with Chicago. I'm probably not going to be able to really get into the game against Kansas City because that one, a lot of the starters are not going to play anyway. But we will get into a little bit of that and talk about the Chicago game. So I'm getting out of here, y'all. Thank y'all very much for tuning in to Titans and Truth. I'm your man, Chris, and I'm out.